Today, the story element we're going to review is setting. Our I can statement is I can describe the setting of a text by telling where and when the story takes place. So looking at our chart, the setting is the place, the time, and the environment around the story. Some examples of place are where, such as the home, the store, the jungle, on a boat. Those are typically the things we can locate. Then we talk about the time, which is the when. Remember, when we talk about when or the time that the story takes place, it can be many different things. It can be the time of the day, such as the morning, or 8 o'clock. It could be the time of the year, such as summer, spring. It could be the time of the year that might say it's October or December. They might give you the exact date or the exact year, such as 1998. And it could be a time period like last night or last week. The last thing that goes with setting, and sometimes it's hard for us to think about, is the environment. The what. What is around us? Okay? Think about everything, if you're standing outside, everything that's around you. So it could be the temperatures, whether it's cold, whether it's dark outside, it's stormy, rainy, or cloudy. Right? But those are included in the setting as well, is what's going on in the environment around you. The setting is important because it affects what happens in the story. The setting often changes throughout the story depending on the activities and the events of the plot. And characters react to the setting and what's going on in the setting. So if the setting is a dark, gloomy forest, your character is going to act very differently than if it was a sunny, bright summer day at the beach. So our characters are going to react to the setting. We always look for clues in our words and our pictures, and it's usually presented towards the beginning or the exposition of the story. So when we talk about the setting, remember, the when can be the time of day, the time of the year, or even a specific date, or it can be even a time period in history such as the past, present, or future. So there's a short video here to help you understand what the setting is and how to locate it and go back to your story for your text evidence to support it. And I'll also talk about the importance of looking for all the details of the setting. So let's watch that.
On screen. Captain Tronic. Greetings. I am afraid Scout Ship 3 has gone missing. Again. I need you to find them.
Of course, great leader. What was their mission?
I sent them to find the cattle ranch featured in my favorite book, Rattlesnake Rapids. We haven't heard from them since.
So, we need to find the ranch and see if we can locate the crew of Scout Ship 3.
Yes, and be careful, Tronic. We don't know what could have happened to them. Great leader out.
Here.
Great. How are we going to find this place?
Ask the computer, Ensign.
The setting is where and when the story takes place. This information is often found early in the text, within the first few paragraphs.
Great. You look for the details in the text. I'll use the computer to find the exact location.
Yes, sir. The sun beat down on the hard-baked ground and tumbleweeds quietly rolled by. About 30 miles north of San Antonio was a beautiful, spring-fed river, and it was here that Jessup built his ranch.
Location found and locked in.
30 miles north of San Antonio? Here we go.
This definitely looks like the right place. Hard-baked ground, tumbleweeds, even a river.
Yes, but what about that highway back there? Or those kids on the river? The book's setting doesn't say anything about them, does it?
No, there's no mention of either of those things.
Let me see that book, Ensign.
Here you go, sir.
Ensign, this story is set more than 100 years ago, in the time of the cowboys.
100 years ago? Did Scout Ship 3 have a time machine?
We haven't invented time travel yet.
Of course not, sir. But where do you suppose the crew of Scout Ship 3 is?
Wait a minute. Ensign, I believe I found the crew of Scout Ship 3. Inform Grade Leader at once.
Okay, this video clearly shows how you have to go back to the text and look for the exact text evidence to help you determine the where and the when. One of the big important things they showed in here was that if you are not looking carefully, you're not going to get the setting correct. They were in the present times when the story took place 100 years in the past. So it definitely shows the importance of really looking at what you're reading. So we're going to do a couple examples together. We're going to read each passage and we're going to come up with the time and the place, which are both descriptors of the setting. So number 1, I woke to the sound of water crashing over and over. The air was humid and salty, and as I slowly opened my eyes and saw the hotel's white shears moving in the breeze, I remembered where I was and smiled. It was the first day of my vacation, and I had big plans. Now, in this, they don't tell you directly. You need to infer the time and the place. So the time, that's when it takes place. So we're going to look at this. Our character just woke up, so we know that it's going to be the time as the morning. It's in the morning. But we also know another time is that it's during a vacation time. So it's probably during summer or spring, because you might have a vacation in spring break, or you might have a vacation in the summer. So more than likely, it's going to be summer or spring. But the place, where are they? What's the place? We look at our clues, our text evidence. We have water crashing over and over. The air is humid and salty. They saw the breeze of the hotel's windows. They're on vacation. So we're going to have to infer that the place is that they're at the beach, right? This is the beach, but more specifically, right now, he is in a hotel room, right? So let's look at number 2. I stood up on my bike and pushed down hard on the pedals. Slowly, I climbed the big hill past the Mitchell's blue house with the red shutters, past the Jenkins stucco bungalow, past the 3 identical houses that had been empty, now for 6 months. I was panting by the time I reached the top of the hill, and I stopped. Far below me, I could still make out my father in the yard trying to finish cutting the grass as the sky grew pink. I had told him I'd be right back. I grinned as I pushed down hard on the pedal with my right foot. Once again, beneath me, the bike began to fly. So we're going to look at the time. Well, I can talk about the time of the day. It is definitely during our daytime hours, right? He's out there riding his bike, so that's usually during the day. And I can also look at time period in the history. It's definitely modern times. It doesn't seem like it's in the past. And then a place. Let's talk about the place they are. It seems like he's in his neighborhood outside his house because he's riding down the road. So his place might be on the road in his neighborhood, right? He's not inside his house. He's riding his bike. So he's outside riding his bike on the street in his neighborhood. So let's look at number 3. Wanda groaned silently and dropped her head down onto her desk. At the front of the room, Mr. Little droned on and on and on about the Mexican War. Someone near her whispered, and there was the rustle of paper. The slow tick of the clock sounded like someone striking an anvil with a hammer. This day never end. Once again, we're going to have to infer. We're looking for, first, the time. Well, it definitely seems like it's modern times, but more importantly, we know the time of the day, right? It's during the school day. It's during the daytime hours. More than likely, it's probably towards the end of the school day after lunch, because she's hearing the sound of the clicking of the clock, thinking the day's never going to end. So usually you start having those thoughts towards the end of the school day. So it's going to be an afternoon after lunchtime. But our place, our location, They never tell us, but we can infer that she's in her classroom at school because Mr. Little was up teaching about the Mexican War. She had her head on her desk. Those are all signs that lead us to the inference that she's in her classroom at school. So you're going to be using these skills to help you on our next page in Canvas, where you're going to practice finding the time and the place for several short passages.